9 minutes to 1 o'clock. You're listening to the Midday Report with me, Lester Givet. Now, cell phone manufacturers are selling us 5G enabled phones, but do we have 5G network yet? Now, ICASA has announced that it's in the final stages of issuing an invitation to apply for high demand spectrum and access to the wireless open access network. This will allow for the rolling out of 5G coverage, which has the potential to unlock development in more advanced technology sectors. Nazareen Ebrahim is a tech communicator, also CEO of Socially Acceptable. As soon as one mentions 5G, some conspiracists start wailing and gnashing their teeth.
This is true, Lester. People were up in arms about 5G towers coming up all over the place, claiming that it caused coronavirus. So there's been quite a few stories going around. They'll become urban legends and myths in the near future. So this will be interesting to see.
So it's all very technical, but how does this work? The ICASA is now opening up the high demand spectrum, essentially putting up auctions so that people are invited to apply for certain spectrums on that, certain bandwidths on that spectrum, if I'm getting the terminology correct. But it will be finally rolled out in early next year.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So a simple way to understand it is, if there's a spectrum which is invisible to us, these waves that if we talk to each other, the sound travels through the air and you receive it if we're in front of each other. A similar way, how electronic devices or anything that emits a signal travels through airspace, which has these waves that they go along. The wave can be very slow, transmitting less information, or it can be very high, transmitting a lot of information. If it transmits a lot of information in a wave, then it requires more energy. Now, there's different parts of the spectrum, and they're called bands. They're like roads. And so the government, what they do is they're able to manage this and oversee it like an authoritative regulatory owner of the spectrum. Otherwise, it would be absolute chaos. Everyone would be using it, jumping on. We'd be clashing with our signals. You wouldn't be able to use your phone and at the same time as your Wi-Fi router.
Now,
so that's
when you think of 5G, it just doesn't mean faster internet, a faster download of a song on your phone, or you don't have to wait for a Netflix or a YouTube video to buffer. There are indeed real critical technologically advancements that can be made with 5G technology.
So it's exactly what you are talking about around the, I think, how can I say, the width in which the kind of megahertz allowance that you have with having very good connectivity. The higher you go, of course, I think the standard is about 800 megahertz, and then going higher allows better connectivity on other platforms, like with 4G, having LTE connectivity, those type of things. But if you look at 5G, of course, it's because of the ability for us to compute faster, it's going to need more energy, which means a higher spectrum of in terms of bandwidth. And that means, because ICASA has now delayed this, it came to my mind is they're not only delaying how many competitive players can enter the market, but also the ability for the rest of the country to get connected as quickly as possible. Rural areas, more peri-urban areas that may not necessarily have even basic bandwidth connectivity right now. So this is going to be interesting to see how it rolls out, because the invitation to apply is only going to be released at the end of September, and then they'll actually issue licenses in March next year, at the end of March next year. And once that rollout happens, it's a year from there when I look at the original timeline they released. So I'm going to be interested to look at this.
And then maybe we can finally make use of our 5G enabled phones.
and also get much cheaper data costs, which we all are begging for.
Nazareen Ebrahim, she's the CEO of Socially Acceptable. Thanks so much for joining us.